We've got the newest event in Hockey Ultimate Team, the Trade Deadline event, and it is quite possibly the worst we have ever had in Hockey Ultimate Team. There is no way that even just a casual player can attempt to understand this mess, and the only thing I can hope that EA does or takes away from this event is to never do this again. That being said, let's take a look at the newest Master Set player items, and again, I need to stress this, even if you really want this card or these cards, do not make them. Within the hour of release of this event, they changed the sets and how they worked multiple times, where it ended up just at a point where it's going to cost you well over 1 million coins in value to make them. If you really want them, I'd recommend buying them from the auction house. Let's begin. 94 Patrick Kane on his move last season from Chicago to the Rangers. First of all, gotta give props. The card art is fantastic, and Patrick Kane is a good choice. We've got playmaking and sniper forward, as well as speed boost, dangler, and playmaking boost, which would max out his skating. He's a 99 speed, 99 excel, 97 agility player with silver edges, shrug it off, naked, snappy, and gold puck on a string. We've seen smaller players be useful this year in Hockey Ultimate Team, and he fits that mold of someone who's going to be extremely fast and extremely snappy with the puck. He's got max hand stats, everything that you'd want from an offensive player. Defensively, he's going to get thrown off the puck extremely easily, especially because he doesn't have unstoppable force, but nonetheless, will be a fun card offensively. Next, we've got the 94 Brad Richards with two-way and playmaking forward, as well as checking, playmaking, and shooting boost. He's a 6 foot, 200-pound left-handed centerman with potentially the worst combination of abilities I've seen from a Master Set player since the next-gen Shane Wright. He's got 95 skating, essentially across the board, mid-90s shooting stats, and high 90s hand stats, as well as 95 face-offs, which is really the thing that makes this card somewhat valuable, is the fact that he's at least a decent centerman. However, again, for the cost, absolutely no shot. Ryan Smith from the Oilers to the Islanders. Honestly, one of the more fun cards. Two-way and power forward, as well as playmaking, shooting, and agile dangler boost. Has 94 skating across the board, essentially, and a really fun combo of gold total eclipse. I've talked about this a ton. It will activate when the goalie is in a screened state, so you know for sure that the goalie is screened. He also comes with big tipper, close quarters, and no contest. This is a really fun card. So cost aside, and just like looking at the card, he is a left-handed winger. There's a ton of great left-handed wingers that are better than this card, but there's no doubt this is actually a fun card to use in HUT. Mark Stone, finally, we get a Mark Stone card that can skate. 6'3", 217, 94 speed and excel, 90 agility, so still a pretty rough skater, but nonetheless, he can actually get above 90 in terms of speed. He's got gold unstoppable force, born leader, back at ya, and no contest. He's got a great shot, good body checking and hand stats. Kind of reminds me of the Mikko Rantanen from the HUT Elites event, only on the right-handed side, so one of the better options from this event for sure. And then finally, the 94 Larry Murphy, 6'1", 215, a right-handed defenseman. He's got playmaking, shooting, and accelerator boost, as well as offensive and two-way, gold edges, as well as in reverse seeing eye and quick pick, 95 speed and excel and agility. Again, he can get up to 97 acceleration, okay endurance, shot, hand stats, as well as all of his defensive stats. They all check out, and silver quick pick is very good. All in all, this is a pretty good right-handed defenseman. I'm going to show you this, but I'm really not going to go into full detail because it is terrible. Here is how this, I think, works. So, same situation as always, you trade in cards and you get event collectibles. And there is still no 90 overall trade-in, even though we are in March. So, let's say you trade in 89 overall players, you'll get 20 trade deadline collectibles. Now, remember, these collectibles are going for about 3,000 coins per. Now, the biggest issue I have with this event is that they seemingly went back years in terms of quality of life improvements that we've gotten in HUT. Let's say you wanted to make Ryan Smith. It will cost you 8 collectibles to make the 85 overall card. Start the path to make the 94 Ryan Smith. Now, to make the card, it's going to cost you about 24,000 coins in value, but once you have this set, you now have the 85 overall. For test purposes, I went ahead and threw Brad Richards in just because I needed a centerman, so I have no plans on upgrading him, but still, I used the 8 collectibles to make him, and then as you can see, we have to go back and make individual card upgrades. So I got the 85. This set to get his 86 requires us to use the 85 85 overall card that we just got from the 8 collectibles to make them, as well as 4 50 overall rated Brad Richards cards. Now, how do you get the Brad Richards cards? Well, there's 2 ways. One is this limited time set where you can trade in 5 trade deadline collectibles, which will then net you 5 random trade deadline upgrade items. Now, for science, I opened up one of those packs, so I did the 5 collectible trade-in for that pack, which is about 15,000 coins in value. And, well, I only got 1 Brad Richards card. That's right, all 5 were random. I actually got 2 Larry Murphys, but I have no interest in making Larry Murphy. Well, the good news is that there seems to be a trade-in set if you get any of the unwanted cards. So by trading in 3 of these, 3 that I'm not going to use, I can get 1 trade deadline collectible back. It costs 5 to do this pack again. This was not how it was intended to be made, guys. I don't understand it. I don't know where they were going with this, but believe me, just avoid making any of these cards. It is a disaster. Now, we did get new objective paths, starting with trade deadline week 1, which will net you an 87 Ivan Barbashev for playing some games, event collectibles, as well as after opening 8 daily rewards packs, you'll get 5 random trade deadline upgrade items. Again, you might not get cards for the one that you want. On top of that, we got the NHL Scout objective path, where it will net you more event collectibles, not anywhere close to the amount you need. Oh, and if you did want to do the math, it looks like it's 118 of these 50 overall player item, and they're random. Now, we did get the trade deadline cards for the current season. These are always kind of fun. They will upgrade +2 overall if they actually get traded in the real thing. This is always my favorite part of this event. So as you can see, Chris Tanev, he was an 89, got shipped to Dallas, RIP Toronto, and now he's a 91 overall. The same applies to all of the cards that are currently released. Like, I'm even annoyed just trying to go through this to look at all the players because they went back to the individual cards for each upgrade instead of just having the upgrade path for power-up collectibles, which was the initiative and change this season to make things simple. Like, I get we're at the end of the cycle or the beginning of the end of the game and interest starts to die off, but good lord, like, just, I don't know how this was greenlit. So just going over some of these cards, again, they will get a +2 if they are traded. A lot of them are not going to be of use even if they do get traded. Joel Edmondson from the Capitals. Sean Walker has been kind of highly touted in terms of getting moved, but I'll be honest with you, the Flyers in a playoff spot, it would be tough for them to sell. Tanner Jeannot from the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously he's not going to be traded. We've got Adam Henrique, who I would almost but guarantee he gets traded. He's having a career resurgence, but again, in-game, this card is not usable. We've got Nick Dowd, Alexander Carrier, Jack Roslovic. I always say his name wrong. I apologize. Capo Kakinen, who I could definitely see moved, but again, even at 87 overall is not going to be of use. Jake Allen from the Montreal Canadiens. Scott Lawton from the Flyers. Again, just tough for me to see the Flyers sell like this, but card is unusable unless you're an offline player. Noah Hannafin. I don't want to say guaranteed, but I bet quite a bit that he is going to get moved. And I love the gold quick pick shutdown, but at 87 speed and excel, tough. Vladimir Tarasenko. Could definitely see him on the Vegas Golden Knights. You've got John Klingberg from last year. Matt Dumba with Silver Truculence. Dumba cards are always kind of interesting, but again, his skating is just very low. Tyler Toffoli from the Devils. Jake Gensel from the Penguins. My guess here is that he'll end up in Vegas, either him or Tarasenko, or maybe Edmonton. Ilya Labushkin gets the +2 for becoming a Toronto Maple Leaf. Also gets Speed Boost, Gold Shutdown, and Truculence. If you just started the game with Speed Boost activated, that's actually not terrible. Again, if you just started the game. Our boy Jacob Markstrom, I'll be honest, even if he doesn't get moved to the deadline, I kind of want this card. I've been using the 87 again, and Jacob Markstrom cards have been the best in my opinion all year. Pavel Buchnevich of the Blues, he gets Speed Boost as well as playmaking forward. If he gets traded, his attributes are actually pretty decent. His ability Big Rig is pointless though. Frank Vetrano, maybe back to the New York Rangers. Skating again is kind of low. Does have Gold Unstoppable Force, but not a lot going on here. Chris Tanev already got his 91 boost. Gets Speed Boost up to 92, but again, his acceleration is still 89. Gold Shutdown, Quick Pick are nice. You're probably better off finding another right-handed defenseman in the same price range. And then Jordan Eberle. I'd be stunned if he gets moved. At 92 overall, again, he's always been kind of a rough skater, so probably avoid here. We've got some trade deadline moments, 5 of them for each of the Master Set players, which will net you a couple event collectibles to try and help you get random players from packs. Just not worth it. Yeah, sorry, fellas. I don't really know how to put a good spin on this. This is a terrible event. Unfortunately, again, if you any of the Master Set players are of interest to you, I would save up your coins and buy them on the auction house. There's really no way to effectively make them from this set, and hopefully EA comes out with a blog post or something to try and explain what the idea was here. I'm all about them trying to change things up and make things more interesting, but this was just such a massive miss that I don't really think it's acceptable for the player base, and I hope we see an improvement throughout the event going into week 2. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. However, I got a pretty good idea of what you think.